Hello, welcome back to my writing channel. My name is Josie, and we are working on the first draft of like the book of my heart. Yeah, an epic fantasy if you want to know the details. But a book that I have been thinking about for an extremely long amount of time. I've been slowly world building, I've been slowly outlining. I feel like I've kind of lost the plot a little bit in the sense of like lost that spark and that reason why I'm writing this book in the last little bit. Though it's like not entirely my fault. I decided for some reason to try and write this book while biking across Europe. So we've been biking like 5, 6, 7 hours a day, and I've been exhausted, and then also trying to write. But it's all part of the fun, it's all part of the challenge. Like, what else am I gonna do, like not write and then be sad that I haven't even tried? We are currently at 16,466 words, so we have a decent chunk, but there's still a ton left to go. And I think this book has been difficult to write, not just because of the whole like trying to write while biking, 60 to 100 kilometers a day, but also because I'm really pushing myself in new ways. Like before this, I was writing these standalone, isolated thriller mystery books, and I was almost writing them as prep for this because I wanted to make sure like I could complete books consistently because this epic fantasy is, I want to turn it into a series, and I didn't want to like get a couple books in and grow tired, whatever. I also wanted to have practice on writing character arcs, and all this to say that I don't know that it's necessarily prepared me correctly, in the sense that there's new challenges that I'm going to have to face and things that I haven't really strengthened or made my strengths that I'm going to have to improve on. The main thing here is that I now have to suddenly create these like big battles and big like set pieces, which I don't really know much about, but that we can fix. It'll be fine. I'll get there. The other thing is multi-point of view. So before this, all my books have been standalones, like one character's point of view the entire time. But in this book, I'm trying for 3 points of view. And they all start together in one place at the beginning, and then they all have their own separate stories. So my strategy, which I still think is a valid one, is to write each character arc separately, like go through the entire character's journey, and then go to another character and then find a way to weave them together, because I really want to try and make each character very distinctive and also as strong as possible. Like I don't want one character to be like an okay story and one story to be like, oh my god, this is so amazing. Like I want to spread out the awesomeness. But what I've realized is it's hard to do that in the first act because they all start at the same location and they all are very intertwined, which I guess is a good thing because you get to know all three characters in kind of like a roundabout way while they're all interacting. And they're not necessarily friends, let me tell you that, or friendly towards one another. So I've swapped my strategy just a little bit. So for Act 1, and I don't know if I can really call it an Act 1 because it's not that long, but that's besides the point. The first section, right? Part 1 of the book, they're all in the same place. They're all affecting one another. And I am decided to write all of this together because it makes the most sense. Because literally the end of one person's chapter is like moving off point and catalyst for what happens to this other character in the next chapter. So it makes sense to write all these together. It is probably going to be 7 chapters is what I'm assuming, because I'm giving each character 2 chapters, and then the one that's the most main character of the 3 characters that have the point of view, they're going to get a 3rd chapter. So there's 7, and I think I'm going to do a small like intermediary chapter before we then jump off into each character going off doing their own thing. So that's where I'm at. I'm 16,000 words in. I've kind of jumped around a little bit as I'm like figuring stuff out, as I'm like feeling the vibes for certain scenes. I think we're gonna keep going with that strategy, even though it feels like kind of messy and like because I'm used to just writing like chronologically going through. But at this point, I'm like, I just need to figure this out. Like, I will utilize my previous strengths, the things I've learned from writing other books. Once I get to the point where I can be like, yep, this character's going down this path, let me just write them out. So right now is kind of the throw everything at the wall and see what sticks kind of strategy, which is not the most efficient, but it's what we're gonna do. And yeah, I'll let you know when we get some more progress. My shoes are so dirty. but check out this view. We've come from all the way down there at the ocean. This is so crazy. These lights actually turned on. I think it's like motion sensor when we came in. Oh my gosh, this is never-ending tunnel. We haven't spoken in a few days now. It's been, I think, 3 days, and that's by choice because I didn't want to jinx anything because the writing has been going amazing, like really, really good. It feels like every single day I'm just excited to get to the story and excited to have the time to actually write. And I don't even know like what this change was because I went from having to set up and kind of force myself to sit down and write for half an hour every morning and kind of getting into the groove of that, but really not finding like the flow, to suddenly like this switch in my mind went, I just want to write. That's all I want to do. Well, other than biking. The biking's been great. But I just get like these ideas for the scenes or little details, and I go back and tweak pre-existing scenes, and it's just been so much fun. Like I feel like the momentum is building, and I want to talk a little bit about like this switch because it's so hard when writing. Like I feel like so much of it is like this mental mindset, and even if you've been writing for a long time, like I feel like it can be really hard to figure out how to get into that flow when you're not feeling it, and then when you are feeling it, you're like, this is just how it is. Like I don't really know how to explain it. It just like feels good, and you kind of like don't question it too much. But I think what it really comes down to is just like enjoying the project and having a good time with it. And for me at least, it all started with one scene. Like I had the idea for a single scene that happened kind of a little bit ahead of where I was in Act 1, and I just had this clear vision of what I wanted to have happen. And it made me really excited to not only write the setting, but the conflict between the characters. And then as soon as I wrote that scene, I was like, ooh, now I have an idea for this other scene, and I'm going to go over here and write this. And actually, that original scene that I wanted to write, my plan is to actually go back to it, hopefully maybe tonight or tomorrow, because I'm changing things up. Like it's not even staying exactly how it was. But again, it's just like once that momentum builds, like I feel so great. Like I don't even care that I'm like rewriting these things. But I was just really nervous that if I were to like talk about it too much at the beginning before really like feeling the writing, feeling how awesome this was, it was all just gonna go away. At one scene I was gonna write it and then just feel like, I'm back to the drawing board kind of thing. But I will say that I may be slowing down again soon. I don't know how I'm gonna fare when coming up to the battle sequences, because those I haven't figured out yet. There's some battles with this one specific character that I started writing and then I wasn't enjoying it, so I skipped to stuff I wanted to write. It's actually starting to rain, so I'm going to update you really quickly. We are at 20,029 words. We hit 20,000. Okay, I'm going to quickly go inside the tent before I get fully rained. The rain has mostly stopped at this point, but as you can see, there is some thunder and lightning down in the valley, which is not ideal. That's literally where we're planning on going tomorrow. But I mean, it's kind of cool. Where I grew up, there wasn't really that much lightning, so. We've officially arrived in Valencia. It's been a long day, but yeah, I'm excited to just chill and get some writing done. I got a little bit done last night and again this morning, basically just reworking scenes where like the first time I wrote them, I was like just going for it, and now I figured out like things that are wrong with what I did the first time, like in the world's logic. So I'm going back through and fixing a lot of that, so I didn't add that many words. We are now at 20,159 words, so I add like 100, which isn't a ton. But I'm also trying not to make word count my end all be all for my progress and how I feel about the project, because I really am enjoying the flexibility of kind of doing whatever, going to whichever scene calls to me, working on whatever I want to do, editing when I want to, because I've had a pretty rigid first draft rule process for myself for almost as long as I can remember. And a lot of it stems from when I was writing as a kid. So when I was a child, I tried to write stories. I managed to write one all the way through, but I would also start and drop a lot. And I kind of made this rule for myself that once I started first draft, I had to continue and not edit and not stop until I got to the end before I could even think about editing, just because I wanted to carry that momentum. I didn't want to get myself stuck the way I had when I was younger. But at this point, I have finished enough stories that I'm pretty confident that I'll be able to get to the end of whatever project I choose to start. Like, it no longer feels like such a daunting task to get to the end of a book. Like, it's still a lot of work. It still takes a lot of time, but it doesn't feel quite as like unachievable as like pie in the sky. So it's kind of nice to just kind of let myself do whatever I want with this project. But the plan is, 'cause I think it's around like 4 o'clock, is to take out my contacts, take a shower, hang out, see what kind of writing I get done. I don't think we're gonna do that much stuff around town today because we have all of tomorrow to do that. But it's gonna be kind of nice to just take it easy and yeah, keep working on this project. I'm now clean and I feel amazing and I'm ready to start this writing session, but I think I'm actually not gonna start it by writing because I've done all the easy stuff. I've done all the stuff I knew how to do. The only thing that's left are those darn battle sequences that I can't, for the life of me, picture in my head. Like, I really need to know in my head like the image of what's going on, almost like I'm seeing a movie, to be able to write the scene. And I know the like inflection points. Like, I know that the character has to fail at first in this way and then this is how they're going to succeed, but I don't know the like concrete details, right? Like, it's a very big picture, very like abstract of what's going on, that I just need to like figure this out, and I want to do a good job. And if I jump straight into just trying to write it, I know I'm going to just like hate myself for it. So instead, we are going to go to the internet. We're going to look up videos or articles of tips on how to write battle sequences, and we'll see what people recommend. I don't really know what to do. I've kind of hit a bit of a roadblock. Like, I've been looking up how to write a good battle scene because in my head, I need to figure out how to write a sequence with two big armies clashing. My character is like an officer or like a higher level person, so they're seeing it more from the strategic point of view. Like, they have command over a group of people. Like, I don't even know the terminology that well yet, but everything I'm finding when I'm looking up how to write a good battle scene or battle sequence, battle is the word there, all of the advice is how to write a fight scene. And that's different because it's how to write like two characters battling one another most of the time, like hand-to-hand combat. So a lot of the advice is like, it's just not working for me. That's like not what I need. I tried articles, I've tried videos, I've even scoured forums online to see what people are saying, and I don't really feel like I'm getting very far. I think at this point I might try and read some scenes if I can find them online or something from books that I know that I've enjoyed their battle scenes. Otherwise, my plan of attack is to try and draw out the location, like try and draw out the battlefield and where everyone's positioned and maybe how they'll move, and then maybe try and come up with like a list sequence of what's going on, because even though my character is potentially like above and has like a better perspective on what's going on, it's not like he's in the army on the ground all fighting around him. Like, he has a bit more perspective than that. Like, he could be missing other things. I'm feeling a little bit lost on how to do this, but I think just trying to find good examples is the best plan of attack, and then yeah, trying the other stuff too. The crisis has been averted. I have a solid idea for what I want for this battle sequence, and it is morning. I have not done any writing last night or this morning. I just always underestimate how tired I am when we arrive at these big cities, because we do put in like a lot of kilometers to get to these places. So when I finally like have a bed and consistent Wi-Fi and consistent electricity, all I want to do is just lay there. But before that happened, I used my tablet and the like drawing mode with the pen, and with my boyfriend's help, Jonah, because he plays a lot of video games that are like map based and like war based. So that was actually really helpful because we drew out the battlefield as well as the different like little regiments and armies and how they would move over it and the progressions throughout the battle of what would need to happen. So I'm feeling really good about my ability to write this out. I actually have to write the thing, but it's feeling a lot more solid, and I'm happy to have this image in my head before going into it and trying another time. But that's not going to happen this morning because we are about to get out the door to get some breakfast and then tour Valencia, which is going to be awesome. That's another thing, is I feel like I have this little bit of impatience now. I'm loving writing and that's like what I want to do, but at the same time I have to be patient because it's like that's not the ultimate priority here. Like if I was back home and I was in one place, I could spend hours on this. I could reserve my energy for writing, but that's not the case when I'm biking as well. Like I don't want to compromise our biking destinations to do writing. Like that is not the order that it's in right now, unfortunately. So I'm trying to treat my little moments where I can work on this story as like not a privilege but as like a gift, right? And I think it's shifting as well my perspective on writing, because before, when I was like living and going to grad school or whatever, when I was writing, it often felt like, oh, this is just like my pastime, it's what I do in the evenings, or oh, I've got a couple hours, I may as well do this, you know. And there was a lot more time for it, so I maybe took it for granted a little bit more. But now it feels like a lot more special because I don't have a lot of time, and I'm specifically carving out the time for it when I can, whether it's half an hour here, half an hour there, or whatever. And anyways, yeah, my feelings for my writing are developing over time. I'm sure they'll revert back once I get back to like a regular schedule, but for now, this is the way it is. And yeah, I can't wait to start writing this battle sequence. I'm a little worried that it's going to be too long because there's quite a bit going on, and I really want to make sure I take the time to fully explore the setting and make sure that the reader doesn't get confused as to what's going on. Because from my like forum searches, I did get a lot of good tips. Like I'm not saying that all the information I got about fight scenes was bad, but I've spent a lot of time combing through the internet for writing advice because I didn't go to school for it, and I just like to learn and know things. And so a lot of the advice I was getting about the fight scenes aren't necessarily even about the actual fighting. The advice I can kind of get generalized over every scene, right? So it's stuff like, you know, make sure your scene is rooted in a character, that character has conflict, has a goal, there's stakes. Like it's things you want across the board. But I guess people are just reiterating them for fight scenes because oftentimes you can just get to, oh, this person bashed that person bashed that person. Or it's like potentially in a battle scene, it's like, oh, just two armies clashing. So it's like making sure that there's a reason that the reader will care, that there's stakes involved and all that other stuff. But really for this, like what I was struggling with wasn't that. It was like literally how to orchestrate a battle. And I'm feeling really good about that. I'll probably be thinking about it in the back of my head today as we're walking around, and I get to look forward to actually being able to try and write this thing out. We're back in our room because we're taking a couple-hour break before this evening's amazing activity, which I'll talk about in a second. But yeah, we went to the City of Science and Arts, which is this like big area where they have a bunch of really cool buildings. We went to the Science Museum, which was awesome. They had a Da Vinci exhibit and another one on colonizing Mars, which has given me ideas for future books in this fantasy series, which is really exciting. I'm gonna write them all down before I forget them. Then we also went to this big market where we got like a pretty late lunch. Then we got bubble tea, and I was so full from lunch. I hadn't finished it. All the ice is melted, but as we walked back from the market, this day only got better because I bought a shampoo and conditioner bar for this trip because I didn't want to bring like bottles of it on the bike trip because it's also weighs less and it lasts longer. And last night we finished the conditioner bar, and guess what we passed today? A Lush with the exact same conditioner bar we needed. Doesn't quite fit in the tin. I think this one's a little thicker, but it'll get worn down soon enough and everything will be perfect. And the day is only going to get better because we're here for a couple of hours. And then tonight, we are going to the opera. I know, I've never been to the opera before, but I'm really, really excited. I will probably have to look up the plot of the opera before we get there because I'm not going to be able to understand anything of what they're saying. The website isn't even in Spanish. I think it's Catalan. So it'll be even hard. I don't even know if I could understand an opera if it was sung in English because they sing so high and I'm not good at understanding even English when it's being sung. Also exciting, I am going to sit down now while I have some energy. I'm feeling pumped up. I'm going to finish this and I'm going to do the first attempt of the battle scene. Well, the second attempt, but the first attempt since coming up with my grand plan. So wish me luck. I think I know why the writing feels so much easier now than it did before. Like why in the last 5 days I've just felt like so much excitement towards it. And it's because I have been on a non-stop sugar rush. Like I'm currently eating baguette with orange marmalade, but otherwise I don't think a day has gone by where we haven't had either like ice cream or a chocolate croissant or a pain au chocolat or some other very sugary sweet at least once per day, if not multiple times, because a lot of times we go to bakery at breakfast, we'll get, maybe something a bit savory and then we'll obviously get a sweet treat. And then at lunch, well, lunch is usually pretty good unless we're having like jam, which we've gone to jam recently instead of the cheese and meat. But we'll also sometimes grab an ice cream mid-morning or mid-afternoon if it's hot, and then always we get a dessert, which I'm not complaining, it's been delicious. I cannot believe that it has only been maybe a week that I've really been sinking into the story and really loving it. And I'm so excited for everything that's to come as well. Like this is just the tip of the iceberg is what I'm writing right now. And so last night I started on the battle scene and it went well. I mean, I didn't get too far in just because again, like I'm only working in small increments of time. But I don't see myself slowing down anytime soon because it just feels really good. The plan is working. If there's any takeaway for why the writing is so much easier, it's I've stopped worrying about the writing itself and now it's more about just like having fun with it and looking forward to getting to do something with each writing session, like whether or not it's a piece of dialogue, whether or not it's a scene with a setting that I think is really cool. Thanks for hanging out with me. I don't know how long this streak of good writing is going to go. I'm going to write it until it lasts, and I'll see you in the next one.